Hello Stampers, it's Super Awesome Stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, USA. I'm excited to share this design. It's design number 5 in my 12 Dies of Christmas extravaganza for December 2020. So this is the 5th design and the 5th video in the series. So let's get started. You will need to pull out your Rooted in Nature stamp set. And the stamps that I'm using are the Just For You, and then the full image trees as well. And the coordinating die set is the Nature's Roots framelits. And we'll be using the trees, the open maple leaf, and the evergreens. So the rest of those on the set we don't use on this card kit. All right, so then look in your box and pull out the card kit that has the shaded spruce color. And set that aside, the envelope, and see what you got. You've got a length of this mint macaron ribbon, so set that aside. A couple of pieces of colored cardstock, Just Jade, and the mint. I was gonna say Mint Melody, but I think this is Mint Macaron again. Mint Melody is color from years ago. A couple pieces of vanilla and then the pattern paper. So I'm gonna swap it out, and for stuff that I already got prepared, let's just put the sample right there. So I tend to emboss at least one piece on a card. And this time I embossed the shaded spruce with the Woodlids embossing folder. So here you can see what the embossed looks like, and then just the plain cardstock. And this card is going to orientate this way, so it's going to be a horizontal card this time. Okay, so then I usually start with the inside piece. So let's just attach one of those down. So we've got a very vanilla piece. You got a couple of very vanilla pieces in your pack. So one is for the inside, and I placed it to the bottom left-hand corner because I'm going to put one of that tall tree die cut in the upper corner. All right, next, let's work on your pattern piece. So I gave you a couple of square pieces of this mint macaron. My next thing that I did was I cut 1/2-inch strips. So see those strips right there? So go ahead and pause the video and cut your 1/2-inch strips. You need 4 of those from one of these pieces. So let's line everything up. So I had 4 strips like that. And then you're going to take your ribbon and cut it into about 4 equal pieces. I just had it placed to the right of each of the strips. And then I also cut the angle, so the top is pretty much straight, although they're not straight, they're kind of jagged, they're kind of organic looking. But the bottom I had angled in, so the 2 on the left angle up that way, and the 2 on the right angle up that way. Okay, we're going to use a lot of different adhesives this time. So let's work on those strips as long as I have you cutting them and cutting your paper. Again, stop the video if you need to work at your own pace and come back and start it up once you've got a piece cut. So my next step is to attach a little bit of tear and tape to the right of each of those 4 by 1/2-inch strips of the mint macaron. Not worried about covering the whole spot where the ribbon is. They can kind of be organic and not be attached at the top and the bottom. I'm okay with that. I also didn't use the Stampin' Seal because the Stampin' Seal, I think, it might be a tad bit wider than the tear and tape. And I wasn't sure I could get it on my paper strips quite straight. So those are go in the trash. All right. And then you just cover up that adhesive with your stripper ribbon. So I love to use ribbon in all of my designs. And I love to use it in ways you might not think of using it. So this way is kind of a tone-on-tone monochromatic look. So the cardstock is one texture, and then the ribbon is the same texture, and they're both the same mint macaron. So those are those 4 pieces. And as long as we're working with those, we can attach those down on our pattern paper. So the pattern paper comes from the Forever Greenery suite. And I thought this pattern was suitable for backing forestry themes, or forestry designs. They kind of look like individual palm fronds, but they work as a kind of like a Charlie Brown tree. All right, and then I'll just start on one side, and I put it in about 3/4 of an inch from one side. And then I will take one that's angled the other way and just eyeball it about 3/4 of an inch in. That looks good. And then the other two, trying to be equidistant from each other. There you go. So this is a great little technique if you want to use your pattern paper and you've got a lot of colored strips around that color coordinate with some of our ribbons. Okay, so next thing we can do is attach our pattern piece. Now, since I have embossed that card front, I'm going to use my liquid glue to adhere that down. That way the liquid glue will kind of sink in between all those impressions. And then just press down for a few seconds. And while we're pressing down, we can think of our next step, which is going to be some stamping. All right, I've given you a couple of sheets of that Very Vanilla. So one piece you use for the inside. The other 2 pieces you can use to stamp your images on. Now I'm gonna use my scrap. And so if you've got Very Vanilla, you're more than welcome to go into your scrap pile and use your Very Vanilla instead of using my full sheets that I've provided. Scrap, okay. So the first large tree, I have it colored with the Old Olive, and I was just picking up the tones in the Designer Series paper. And I think I can fit 2 things on here. So that's the Old Olive. And then I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to bring in the Shaded Spruce. So I wanted the evergreens to have the darkest color for the pattern paper. So there's that. And then I can get the single tree on that piece. And the words, "Just for you." Right there. So I'm done with the Shaded Spruce. I'm just going to cover that one up because my space on the left is getting kind of full. And then I need to do a tree. So I see I'm out of scrap, so I'm going to have to grab one of my pieces and use one of my pieces. There we go. So that's the mint macaron. Okay, so next step would be to grab your magnetic platform. Put a flat plate on the bottom. I know I've got a plate that's a little flatter there. Look at how much use I've gotten on this plate. I like this way up. And then we'll start cutting. So I'm just eyeballing, placing the framelit around my stamped image. And I can probably do this one up here. And I'm not sure if this one will work. Nope. So what I'm going to have to do is, they're a little bit too close. I'm going to have to cut that apart. I'm going to cut that off so I can move this over to the side a little better. There we go. There we go. All right, and if you see my if you're looking at my sample card real close, the maple leaf does not have a, see behind all these, I did a little backer. This one doesn't have a backer, so I'm going to run it through, I'm going to run one of these through. I gotta find my paper. Oh, here we go. That's what I want. Here's my scrap. So I'm going to run that one through while we're running everything else through. And then this one, we'll cut that down. I'm trying to get everything on one pass here. This one's going to be that really tall tree. Okay. And then I need to find my maple leaf. Oh, maple leaf's right there. So I'm going to get this maple leaf on a second pass. And then take this to your die cutting machine and cut through. Okay, I'm back. Got everything cut out. So the dies just pop out of the framelit. And I'm done with the die, so set those aside. And then we'll pull in our card that we're gonna assemble. Now I've also done a set of these, the shade pieces, the shadow pieces. So go ahead and stop the video and cut out a set of all the shadow pieces. So I gave you a sheet to do that of each color. And then meet me back here and we'll start assembling. Okay, so you can just use whatever adhesive you'd like to attach these down, but what I did was kind of off-center it because I want a little bit of a shadow. So there's that one. On my sample card, I popped up the evergreens on some dimensionals, so we'll do that as well. At the end of my pack, at the end, I've used all these up, but I'm going to show you. I get my old rubber cutting scissors. We used to sell these a long time ago when we had to cut our rubber stamps up and mount them on our wooden blocks. That wasn't that long ago, but we had to do that when I started out. So I just cut all these up and they are ready to use on my next project. So one of these fell off. Those corners tend to fall off. I can use that one there. All right, so just pull those backer sheets off. And then offset those as well. So see that? It's offset a little bit. Offset a little bit. The maple leaf, I think I will just use a little bit of Stampin' Seal. I don't want that popping off the page. And then this one was for the inside. So I am actually going to use some liquid glue because this has got a really, there we go, a really thin trunk that I don't want to get ripped while somebody's opening the card. As long as I've got the liquid glue out, let's go ahead and attach this to the inside of the card. Oh, that's my sample card. Here's the card I'm assembling. So we're going to assemble that or attach that to the inside right there. And just hold down for a few seconds to let that glue dry a little bit. Now, to attach this piece, I am going to grab my tear tape and do 2 strips across. And that's because we've got, it's not being attached directly to paper. It's being attached to this super soft ribbon, so I want to make sure it stays attached to the card front. There we go. And I had it overlap a little bit on the edge there. And let's pull that down a little bit. And then the same thing for the backs of these. Since we are attaching them on ribbon, and they're pretty small, it's hard for me to pull a piece of, or to run some Stampin' Seal on that. Stampin' Seal on those smaller pieces. Could also use some glue dots. That might have been a little quicker. Tear and tape works just as well though. So you just pull the backer sheets off. Set the waist to the side. And then I wanted to make sure a little bit of that trunk was peeking out, just for visual interest. And then that single evergreen was going to be finishing the eye, going at a kind of an angle. And then down at the bottom, there'll be the just for you on this last piece of ribbon. So I do like the shadow on the back of that leaf, so I think I might have to pull that one up and add a little backer sheet to that. Leave a comment and let me know what you like. A shadow on the back of that maple leaf, and it wore just plain. And I'm not sure this is a maple leaf. It's got a lot of different, it's kind of in the shape of a maple leaf, but I don't think a maple leaf has that many little segments. Okay, so I'll do a little catalog tour and show you where I got all the products from to create this kit. The Mint Macaron ribbon is from page 45 of the August to December catalog. It's part of the Basket Weave Metallic Combo ribbon, so that's where that came from. That's the only supply I used from the August to December catalog. The rest of this supplies came from the annual catalog. So here's the stamp set. It's called Rooted in Nature, and it has the coordinating framelits, which are not shown on this page, but they're on page 182. And then while I'm here, this shading indicates that there is a framelit available. And as long as I'm here on this page, this shading right here with this vanilla shading indicates there's a punch. So in this set, you can see there's a punch that coordinates, and also there's a framelit. All right, flip it over to the ink pad. So I use this Shaded Spruce and the Old Olive, which are part of the Regals collection. I also use the Mint Macaron ink pad, which is part of the Subtles. And the ribbons, oh, we didn't use, that page was still marked and didn't need to be, didn't use any ribbons from there. And then I wanted to share, here are the framelits back on page 182, the Nature's Roots. And last would be the Woodland Embossing folder, page 185. All right, to order any of these products, you can go to my blog at superawesomestamper.com and click on Shop Now. If you're onto YouTube, you can click the Shop Now button in the upper right-hand corner. If you'd like more paper crafting inspiration, go to my blog. And then if you want to order this kit has got 12 different paper crafting kits. And then you just follow along my YouTube videos to assemble them. So full details for my 12 Dies of Christmas Kits in the Mail program are on my blog at superawesomestamper.com. And very last, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you get notified when I load new content to my YouTube channel. All right, Stampers, have a good day, and we'll stamp with you soon. Bye.